And it's kind of like you're trying to make the ultimate collection or the ultimate guest list for your funeral. So I'm going to get a little bit deep. When you're faced with your own mortality, like I have with the brain surgery, I had that by the way, everything in your brain, just all the bullshit just like fades away. It just disappears completely. Social media, likes, just generally like I want to buy this new product because I think it's cool, all that just disappears and you're just left with the important stuff. And if you get beyond that, if you recover, or you get beyond facing your mortality and you have more chance at life, that importance stays with you. However, you do have to compromise with all the bullshit. You still have to take some of that on board and you have to begin with that again because you can't really function in modern society without dealing with some of it, which is awful. But the things that I prioritized when that happened to me, first of all was me. I know that sounds selfish, but if I wasn't healthy, if I wasn't going to get through what I was going through, then I wasn't going to have the rest of my life. Luckily, I've been given an extra chance, which I really appreciate. After that came family. After that came friends. But everything else just kind of disappeared a little. Just wasn't important anymore. And I want to talk about one of those today. And one of them is friendship. Because I think friendship is one of the weirdest things that we have. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I still think it's really bizarre as to what we've got. And there is a socio-evolutionary theory as to why we make friends. And the idea behind it kind of makes it one of the building blocks of modern society. And the whole thing is based on gossip. What the theory boils down to is way back when our ancestors were still swinging through the trees, our troop sizes were like about 50, so the 50 of us in a group. And after that, the ability to recognize someone becomes very difficult. We can recognize up to about 50 people and that's it. And so eventually when the troop gets too big, it actually splits off and becomes two separate, smaller troops. And so that's when our ancestors started to invent gossip or bitching about people, basically, because that's what gossip is. And we would sort of gossip about this other individual over there, which this person didn't really know, but because that person had gossiped about them, then they were able to recognize that person through reputation and link to them. So our troop could grow bigger, and the bigger numbers meant that we could take on bigger obstacles. So like we could take on woolly mammoths, or we could take on another tribe or another troop of primates and knock them out completely. And you can kind of apply that to today's sort of situation, your situation. So first of all, we start off with you. Around you, you've probably got about 5 to 10 friends. You know, they're your circle of trust. So we're going to put a little guy in here, and we're going to call that one Dean. Outside of that then, you've probably got another circle of around 40 to 50 people who you know. Now, you don't know them as well as these people in your inner circle, your inner core, your circle of trust. They are people that when you go to the shop and you bump into them, you'll stop, you'll have a good conversation with them and you'll go on about your business. Or you might have a big event where like you're turning 30, you've hired out a big venue, and these are the people that you would invite. Now there is another group, and there would be around about probably 75 to 100 people in this area. You know who these people are, but you don't really know that much about them. You know their reputation. You know that through gossip. Because, for example, in your inner circle here, you could have a little dude called Sam, and then in your outer circle, this one here, you can have someone who's called Ruby. Now what will happen is, you might be walking through a shop or something like that, and you'll bump into Sam. So you and Sam will have a bit of a conversation going, hey, how you doing? Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, Ruby will bump into Sam. And the three of you have suddenly connected. And you have a little sort of exchange. It might not be much. It might just be Sam saying, oh, Ruby, this is my friend. And Ruby might go off on her way. As soon as Ruby disappears, Sam turns to you and goes, you have no idea who Ruby was bumping uglies with on Saturday night. Your mate Dean. Your mate Dean was doing the horizontal shuffle with Ruby on Saturday night. That's who. And there it is. There's the gossip right there. So you end up coming back to your core circle of friends. And you might go to Dean the next time you see him. You might go, so I've been thinking about getting a ruby ring lately. And that's kind of how the gossip theory starts and how you get this bigger troop of people around you. Now that theory is all well and good for way back in the day when we needed a bigger troop to sort of protect ourselves and so forth, but it doesn't really apply today in the terms of what we need to accomplish. I mean, if you think about it, today there are nearly 8 billion people on the planet, and the average person is going to meet between possibly, 10,000 and 100,000 people in their lifetime, depending on where they are, how much they travel, and what they do for a living. And out of those thousands, tens of thousands interactions, you come across this one person or a couple of these people, and it's like something in your brain just goes, we like this one. We're gonna keep this one and spend lots of time with it. And for the life of me, I have no idea why we pick this one particular person or these few people out of the thousands of others to spend so much time with them. I don't understand why. I can't work it out. But I fucking love it. And we keep doing this. We keep collecting these things that we want to keep, the keepers. That's what we should call them, the keepers. These are the keepers that we want to keep with us for the rest of our lives, and we keep doing it until like the day we die as well, or most of us do. And it's kind of like you're trying to make the ultimate collection or the ultimate guest list for your funeral, which is kind of morbid, but I suppose that's what you're aiming to do. And I suppose this is my nod to friendship and how I value it. So here's to the keepers. People come and go like waves of the ocean, and every so often, one comes out of nowhere like a sucker punch and sticks to your face like an octopus. They're just as weird, broken, twisted and imperfect like you. And they know you well, but for some reason they like you anyway. And you can call them something offensive, and they'll turn, and they'll look at you, and they'll smile, and they'll call you something even worse. And that's friend logic. I insult you because I love you. It's beautiful. They pick you up when you fall, but only after they finish laughing at your dumb ass. And a great friendship is like peeing your pants. Everybody around you can see it, but only you can feel the warmth. And these fools, these imperfect fools, help us build this ability to love an imperfect being, so one day you can love one of them perfectly. Some of us have to cross the planet for that sucker punch, and for others, it's right in front of them. Always has been. And with this keeper, every day is a little less dark and a little more warmer. The toughest of times are made easier, and the best of times are even better. And simply because you are now walking the line with them. So let the waves wash over you, and get ready for your next octopus sucker punch. If you are watching this and I've had the privilege of walking the line with you at some point, and no matter how short, I just want to say thank you, because you have helped in some way to shape who I am today. I'm pretty fucking awesome.